Starting with the intro, right? Guys, this is Sayam Negi, and I'm a part of InfosecTrain. I have been into this industry for a couple of years now. Okay, about InfosecTrain, it was established in 2016. We are one of the finest security and technology training and consulting company. Wide range of professional training programs, certification, and consulting services in the IT and cybersecurity domain. High quality technical services, certification, or customized training programs curated with professions of over 15 years of combined experience in the domain. Just a quick about InfosecTrain. We have 4+ years of services, 70 plus pool of trainers, 200 courses offering, 30,000 plus professional trained, 10 plus valued partners, 150 plus corporate delivery, and 20 plus country serve. And our trusted clients are these. Right. And just why InfosecTrain? Certified and experienced instructors, flexible modes of training, access to the recorded sessions, post-training completion, tailor-made training, right? All the trainers over here are certified, for the respective trainings which they are going to deliver. Flexible modes of training are there in the terms of timing, and you can say tailor-made trainings are as well. Like if you have a custom requirement, we can work along with it and give you the required training which you want as per the, your requirements. Talking about the agenda, you already have known about the agenda, right? Introduction to information security, understanding of CIA Triad, what is red team and penetration testing and their importance, evolution of attacks, network attack, rise of ransomware, what is SIM, importance of threat intel, role of incident is. Starting with the first thing, introduction to information security. Okay. Okay. As per the definition, process which is designed and implemented to protect sensitive information or data, right? Sometimes you will hear the word information security, sometimes you will hear the word infosec, right? So see, whatever we are dealing with nowadays, right? What is the most important thing for you guys? It's a data, isn't it? Correct? Right? Yeah, information and data are the most important thing right now, isn't it? So information security, what do? We go with the processes, or you can say we, go with the tools which are designed and we deploy them in order to protect our these sensitive information, right? These sensitive critical information, you can say, right, from any kind of a modification or disruption, or you can say any kind of a destruction and any kind of inspection over there, right? So it is totally concerned with the protecting of the information from, as you guys have mentioned, from any unauthorized access, right? So here we are doing what? We are preventing and reducing the probability of any kind of an unauthorized access. See why I said probability? Reason being, can I say that anything is 100% secure? Can we ever claim that in any terms? Let's suppose your house, take a very small example, your house. You have your door locks, you have your CCTV cameras, you have every bit of the security guard and each and everything. But still, can you say that you're 100% secure? No, right? So see, we know we are not 100% secure, but we can cut down the impact, we can cut down the chances of it, right? Here we are, like, we are preventing and reducing the probability of those unauthorized access or those use, you can say, disruption, deletion, corruption, modification of our data, you can say. Okay, so in case if any incident happens, then we have our security professionals which, are involved in the entire process, and they reduce down the impact of that particular incident, right? See, I use the term incident over here, though I will be, okay, discussing this later. But what do you mean by incident? Align, okay, as you mentioned, as long as we are in on internet, there is no way we are 100% safe. Like even if you are not in internet, you are not 100% safe, right? Event is what? Occurrence of something, right? That is known as an event. Occurrence of anything. Like if I say I dropped a bottle of water, will that be an event? Correct. But if I say that bottle dropped on my leg, you can say on my foot, and I got injury, I don't, that won't be known as an event. Dropping a bottle of water. If I say that bottle dropped on my foot and I got an injury or out of that, that will be considered as your incident, right? Make sense? Here in we were talking about what with the security incident. Whenever there is an incident, we have our security professionals, those who get involved and try to reduce the impact of that incident into the organization, right? uh okay, we have, you can say, a lot of best practices in order to keep ourselves safe. We have to follow some, you can say, information security policies. If I have to talk about a password base, like suppose there is a password, right? Authentication kind of a thing. So you have to make sure your password is of a very good strength, isn't it? How can you make your password strength good? Can you see this? I used to follow this. I follow this Fossey Bytes. They also give out some good, informations. So time it takes a hacker to brute force a password in 2022. We'll talk about it later. What is brute forcing? Brute forcing, just consider it like, whenever you're trying to crack a password with the combinations. Okay. So if we see in the image itself, is the if the number of characters are 4 and they are numbers only. Okay. If the number of characters are 4 and they are numbers only, just numbers, nothing else, it will be break down instantly by a hacker. If it's just a lowercase, instantly. Upper and lowercase, still instantly, because the number of characters is 4. Numbers, upper and lowercase letters, still instantly. Even if you add with the letters and symbols, instantly. Till 6, it is instantly for all the processes. 7, if the number of characters are 7. If it's just the numbers, it will be instantly. It will be, if it's lowercase letters only, instantly. If it's upper and lower mix, 2 seconds. Numbers, upper, low, and lowercase, 7 seconds. Symbols, letters involved, 31 seconds. So till this point, I don't think it's absolutely useful. Neither this one, I would say. 9 also. 9 is pretty good. It will take your 2 days, but that is still manageable by a hacker, like to wait for 2 days. But if you see for 10, if it's just numbers only, instantly. Lowercase, 4 minutes. Upper and lowercase, 3 days. Numbers, upper and lowercase, 3 weeks. Numbers, uppers and lowercase letters and symbols, it might take 5 months in order to crack it. If you look out down in terms of number of characters, 11, 12 will be sufficient enough in order to keep a password safe. That's why you might have also seen, like, or if you have read somewhere, generally they say like 12 characters of password, which are obviously having these alphanumeric, these symbols, lowercase, uppercase, numbers. It is sufficient enough to make your password strength a very good one, right? A very strong one, which hackers won't be able to crack. Okay. So 12 is known as very good. You can go with 10, 11. 11 is also fine. That's pretty good. Okay. So 10, 11, 12, but make sure to make it, a bit complex and a bit random. Uh, Maybe it's kind of a dicey. It is and it is not. So I won't suggest you to make it like that way, because if someone is able to get into your system, then he will be able to see that, right? We do have key managers as well, which helps you to keep your password safe, right? I will tell you about those tools later, not to worry. Okay. So in terms of securing yourself, we like, in terms of information security, we have information security policies. We ask people to keep your password strength very good one. We have access controls, what all things are allowed, what all things are not allowed into the organization, right? Which is acceptable use policies as well, you can say, are there. uh, Authentication, if we talk about, right, in authentication, when I'm talking about authentication, am I saying that I am proving myself, like you know like if I'm accessing Facebook, for example, I'm telling Facebook that this is me only. right? I'm telling Facebook that this is me only. Like I'm authenticating, I'm telling Facebook that this is same only by authenticating myself. So I'm proving my identity to Facebook, as you guys have mentioned, right? So in authentication, we enter username and password, correct? But still, in authentication, we do have, yes, Prince, exactly, to stop person from unauthorized access. Absolutely, like from other person, I'm trying to stop my account from getting accessed by them, right? But here only is one thing. See, if you are using username and password, just these two things, do you think your account is secure or the security is tight? No, right? So in authentication only, we do have one more concept which goes by the name MFA, right? Multi-factor authentication. See, guys, have you ever seen while you are doing a transaction, for example, one time it asks you to enter your password, right? Second time it asks you to, mention an OTP also. Then only that transaction will be able to be proceed. Correct? Isn't it? Right? So that's a multi-factor authentication only. You might have seen when you're trying to access in your Gmail account, for example, right? First you enter your password, then again it will be sending an OTP to your mobile phone or your email ID, and then enter your that OTP. Then only it will be letting you log in. And along with that, it will be also sending a notification that someone from this location or from this device is trying to access into your account. Is this you only or not? Isn't it? Experience the same, right? So that's your MFA only, multi-factor authentication. Okay. Multi-factor authentication means uh, using two or more authentication factors. Basically, in authentication, we have three factors, the known ones, which are something you have and something you are. Okay, these three are there. Something you know. What do you mean by something you know? Something you know, you can say a knowledgeable factor, right? Something which you have to memorize, you can say. Okay, something which you have to memorize. Like for example, if I talk about uh, your username and password, you have to memorize them, right? Then you implement them, correct? Your pattern, for example, your pin, for example, right? ATM pin or something like that. Then we have something you have, mobile OTP, definitely. Yeah, something you have, you will be your something which you're, you know, and physical identity, you can say. So your ID card, smart card, RSA token, right, etc., etc., etc. OTP also, right? If I have to say something you are will be biometric, like your retina, fingerprint, face scan, right? Out of these three, can you tell me which one is more, you can say, strong one? What I also believe is like retina will be a strongest one, right? Correct. And this, what do we have? We have blood vessels actually, which do not change from you since you are born till you know, expire, you can say. So yeah, they are not changed since birth till you die, until and unless you have a major operation or accident. Until then, it will be not changed. So that's why you can see in military areas, or you can see highly sacred area, we generally have, like, although we will be having all these, but I retina is there specifically, right? Okay. Cool. Let's do one thing first of all. Let's try to map out the answers. Password, which you have to memorize, right? So it will be something you know, correct? Fingerprint, obviously we have already discussed, it is something you are, right? Our biometric part. Smart card, something you have, which you need to carry a physical identity. Car key, again, something you have. Gate, will leave it right now. Bank card, again, something you have. RFID chip, something you have. Username, something you know because you have to memorize it again. Voice will be biometric, something you are. Iris scan, again, something you are. Safe combination is, you might have seen this in movies also, whenever they are trying to rob a bank, and that we have a safe, right? Then we need to make a combinations over there by dialing that something, a dialer, right? Rotating it to match it up with a combination over there, right? Gate is there, which many of you have asked for. This is just something you are. Gait is your a walking pattern, you can say, the way you walk. Okay. If you have seen this in movies also, in agent-based movies, you can say, what do they do? They, you know, like if their enemy travel to another country, they might be seeing over there in cameras and trying to map up the pattern of their, walking method. If that pattern matches with their enemy's pattern, they'll get a hit over there. They'll get to know, okay, this is the suspect, right? So gait is just your walking method. Your walk is also have a pattern, right? It is also having a pattern, the way you walk. Correct. Everyone not walks the same, right? So it is also having a pattern. You can also put that in your something you are. Great. So see, guys, we have what like Seema, you're just starting. As you're talking about information security, right? We have information security in order to protect us, right? To protect our data. So there's this concept, there's this concept of subject and object, correct? Right? There's a concept of subject and object. Object is something, okay. Subject and object. Subject is something which will be making a request to access an object. So subject can be a user, system, anything like that. Whereas your object will be a resource, you can say that subject is requesting for. Okay. So you can say any data or information which a subject wants to access to. So for this only we have like information security, right? So information security, we have this object concept. We require this authentication in order to protect our information. You can say multi-factor authentication is there. We use antivirus, we use software, firewalls, cryptography is there. A lot of things are involved in it, right? So basically, what do we have? Like we have plenty of security controls in between, right? So when I say security controls, so see, our we have information security, right? The sole thing is that we have to protect our uh, informations, we can say, which are generally, you can say, includes your uh, organization's assets can be involved in it, right? Your people, property, your data, those things, which are your assets to the organization, correct? So we have security controls which are there in order to uh, reduce or mitigate those risks to those assets. Okay, so they'll be including a policy, procedure, technique, method, any kind of a plan, action, or any device which is designed in order to accomplish or achieve this goal, right? So if you are implementing a firewall, that will be also a security control, right? If you're implementing an antivirus software, that will be also a security control. Does that make sense? Control types, right? In types, we have technical, we have operational, and we have managerial. Do you know the difference between these three? Right? Technical, also referred as your logical controls, right? Exactly, logical controls, right? Let it will be including your hardware, software, you can say, in order to protect your assets. Correct? Like your firewalls, antivirus, they'll be part of your technical control only. Then we have operational control, physical one, where people are involved more, basically, you can say. Okay, where people are involved more. Like if you're talking about secure, having a security guard, yes, that will be operational control, right? Then we have managerial, like it will be referring to, you can say, your policies, procedures, guidelines that are defined, correct, as per your organization's security goal, correct? Yeah, administrative, you can say, like your employee hiring, termination, your separation of duties. Like everyone should have different duties. You can say your data classification, auditing, all things will be under this part of it. Okay, these are the types, you can say. Functions are there, control functions, which are like, you can say, very interesting one. There's something extra, you can say, as per the concepts: preventative, detective, corrective, physical, deterrent, I hope the spelling is correct, and compensating. Attempt to prevent an incident from occurring, yes. So can we say something which is already there in order to stop or to block any unauthorized activity or any unwanted occurrence, right? So with a very basic example, if I have a gate, a door, or alarm system, these are what? These are preventative controls only, right? Correct. In this, if I have to go logically, I can say, like, antivirus, firewalls, definitely there will be a preventative part only. Make sense? So detective, what means what? To detect something, right? And kind of an alert to be generated over there whenever some activity is going on, doesn't it? So whenever there's a smoke or there's a fire, so we have smoke alarms for that, isn't it? Which detects that there is a fire, and then the actions are taken after it. Correct. So those alarms, isn't it? So honeypots, yes. IDS we have, right, which raise or generate the alerts whenever there is something malicious or any unauthorized activities going on over there. Correct. So that's your detective. Then we have corrective, something in order to control the damage, right? So that we can repair and control those, or restore the process, entire thing, restore our resources back to their prior state. That will be a corrective controls. Yep, backup, definitely. So taking the same example again, if there is fire, smoke alarm, you know raise an alert, you can say, it will be start ringing. And we have sprinkles, which will be spring the water and trying to remove the fire, right? Isn't it? So that will be your, those sprinkles will be working as a corrective controls, a fire extinguisher, for example, after that, right? So over here, like if you go in logical way, in a technical way, patching a system, right? Backup, isn't it? There'll be what? There'll be a corrective controls. Physical controls, as by the name, it's pretty much clear, I believe, right? CCTV cameras, security guards, barricades, all that will be a physical control. Deterrent, deterrent. See, uh, have you guys ever seen, whenever you're trying to enter in a house or a building or society, have you ever seen this? That it's there's a board which says that be aware of dogs, correct? So does that psychologically discourage you from entering into that particular area, right? So that will be your deterrent only. Signboards, yes. So psychologically discouraging. Like we had this lockdown, right? Specific to India, I'm talking about. Our prime minister also, like he gave some guidance to us, right? That during Corona, use mask, use this, do not go out and all that part, right? So he gave us guidelines. So you can say that will be a managerial part, right? Administrative part. Agree? Now we also have seen that we got a news where it says that if you go out on the roads, the cops will be giving you a warm welcome with their bamboo sticks, isn't it? Right? So when you read that news, that was what? Did it psychologically discourage you from going out? So that will be your deterrent. Make sense? Compensating, by the name it's clear, right? And a compensating one, if it's one is not there, another one is there in order to keep an eye on it, right? If one control is not there, so compensating controls are always over there. Moving on, just a quick thing before I proceed ahead, like few things into the basics of it, which are already might you guys might be knowing about it. Vulnerability, any weakness or a loophole or a flaw in a system, right? That will be a vulnerability, any weakness which can be taken advantage of. Threat, what do you mean by threat? So if I say if I'm holding a bottle of water over my laptop, so that water is a threat, right, to my laptop, isn't it? Right? So threat is something which can damage my asset and can change the value of that asset to me. Because right now my laptop is holding some value to me, right? If I pour some water over it, then obviously it got destroyed, it will get damaged, and my asset value will be changed, right? That laptop will no more be valuable to me, or less valuable, you can say, isn't it? So threat is something which can change your asset value, you can say, or something which you can do some harm. Risk, we do have. What do you mean by risk? Vulnerability in the laptop will be it can get short circuit, right? Or why, or it can, like, get toast with that water. That vulnerability will be there. In simple way, can I define risk as a probability of something that may happen or that may not? If I take the same example, if I'm holding a cup of water over my laptop, the risk is that I may spill that water. It may happen, it may not, right? It's a probability. Like if I ask you about risk, is risk a negative thing or a positive thing? Both, right? Risk is actually both, as I said, right? It's kind of a probability, right? So, for example, I will give you a very simple example for that. We do all, like, know about share market, right? When we buy some shares over there, or whatever you do in it, we do it on the basis of a risk, right? Because you cannot certainly say that market will be going up or down at that moment, isn't it? So when you buy a share, you are doing it on the basis of a risk, correct? So if market goes up, you're gonna have a profit, positive outcome. Market goes down, loss, negative outcome. See, what all we are doing, like information security, we are talking about, right? The thing is, here we are doing what we are trying to match up, or we can say, like our primary focus with all the information security program is to what? To protect our confidentiality, integrity, and availability. The CIA tried, right? Isn't it? So these are what? These are the three security pillars of your, you can say, information security. Correct? So we have three things: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. See, confidentiality is what? It is to provide from or protect from any kind of unauthorized access, right? To protect from any kind of unauthorized access, isn't it? See, how can we attain your confidentiality is obviously, see, if let's suppose Sachin is there. Sachin is sending something to Mayur, anything. So it's flowing in a network right now. That information, that data is flowing in your network, right? Three stages are there of your data. Always remember that: data at rest, data in transit, and data at rest. Yes, use, exactly. Data in use or data in process, you can say. Yes. Data at rest. stored in a storage like a hard disk or somewhere like that, in transit when flowing in your network, when it's traveling, right? In use when you're using, or you can say editing or something, file or something, that will be data in use. Okay, so when you're processing it. So let's suppose Sachin is sending any data to Mayur. What happens? It isn't traveling in a network, right? Currently, it is traveling in a network. So any person can attack in that network, right? Can perform man in the middle attack and can steal that data, right? If it's not secure. Agree? Anyone can intercept it and steal your data. Correct? So what do we do? For here, we have confidentiality, which we attain by encryption, you can say, right? Encryption. We play with the keys, you can say, which make sure that, you know, this data, which is encrypted, okay, so it will be read by only Mayur, for whom it is meant to be. So for example, you know, uh, like if Sachin is sending a data to Mayur, Sachin has locked this data with a key, okay, and that data can be unlocked by the key which is only Mayur is having, basically. That is the point. Okay. So Mayur will be having that key and he'll be trying to unlock it and read the data. That is your encryption basically. And back in the time, like in, if you talk about kingdom time, right? Kings and queens and at that time, they send the data over there. Data as in they send a cipher, yeah, cipher, yes, Namanpreet. They they send some, you can say, message, in a hidden way, you can say. And when it, the only person to whom it is meant, he knows how to, crack it up. So that person will be breaking the code and he'll be able to read the message. So that is basically your encryption in simple and layman language. It's a part of a cryptography, exactly, right? So it get encrypted with a key. Sachin will be encrypting the data with a key, and it will be decrypted by the key only Mayur is having. That's the scenario. So that person who is sitting in between, he won't be able to access the data because that person is not having the key. Okay. So that's a confidentiality. Then we have integrity. What do you mean by integrity? So it means that our data was not modified or altered or tampered in between, right? We have integrity, make sure that the data is not modified or tampered or altered in between, right? Or just your data is not modified or tampered or altered. So that means you're maintaining the integrity, originality of the data, exact. And you guys only told me that how can we attain it? By a hashing. Anyone knows what is hashing or a hash? Not that one, by the way. Unreadable text prints, here you can say that hashing has one property, guys, that it's a one-way street. What do I mean by one-way street? So hashing is a one-way street. Like suppose if I have a data, taking a very basic example, hello it is. So after applying the hashing, what will happen? It will be converted like this, something like this. Now the thing is, hashing is a one-way street. Like since you might have heard about what you have encryption, you have decryption, encoding, decoding, right? Have you ever heard a word like dehash, unhash, these kind of a thing? No, right? So that means it's a one-way street. Once you got this output, there is no going back, not at all. That is what it helps us to maintain the integrity over there. So in case if got change, you cannot decrypt it, you cannot get the basic text out of it, first of all. And one thing is also there, if attacker is trying to play around with these things, a slight play around, if he's trying to change some uh, things in the input which is hello. So let's suppose even if he changed a small bit, like he added a dot at the end or a space, the entire hash will be changed into something else. It's a avalanche effect. Avalanche effect. It will drastically change the output for you. So that's why it helps you to maintain the integrity. It's a part of a cryptography concept, not deep diving into it. Then we have availability. Information must be accessible 24/7. Example, Google. Or see, in short, your data, your service should be available 24/7, right? You have to make sure of it, isn't it? Like for its genuine users, right? For its genuine users, correct? How can we do that? How can we attain availability? Exactly. So every organization is after this only, after these three in order to maintain it, right? So see, I have already discussed that this point. Like I'll share with you guys if it's new. So one thing is that every organization will be focusing as per their requirements. See, all CIE, we all agree that CIE is entirely important, right? All three of them are equally important, isn't it? But still, organization will be giving a bit edge to others, you know, in comparing to each other. Like for example, confidentiality, they might give confidentiality a bit edge than integrity and availability, a prioritization basically. Yes or no, right? So for example, if you have this um, ISP, internet service provider, for example, right? The three are important, but which one will be of more priority? It can be one, it can be more than one. I'm just giving you hint. Availability, right? Everyone. Obviously, it have to make sure that their internet is available, right? Because that is the main priority for its consumers as well. So availability for this. I hope this is clear. Now, what about just letting you know? It can be one, it can be more than one. I will also add on integrity over here, giving a bit edge than your confidentiality. Reason being integrity, we all are doing what we are purchasing stuffs on games now, right? We spend money, we create, pass some levels over there. Let's suppose Candy Crush from you know 1 to 100 levels. We talk about if someone reaches till 100, 100 level. If I've cleared 100 level, so if it's there is no integrity, anyone can change the codes over there and he can bring me back to the level one. Correct? Exactly. Prince, you're talking about in terms of PUBG, if I'm not wrong. A bot can come, right? Correct. Yeah, exactly. If you're firing a bullet, if integrity is not there, anyone can change the direction of that bullet, right? So that's your for online games. Now for bank services, you can say online services, whatever you want to talk about. All three are important, definitely. What if I say if I give them priority as confidentiality and integrity, not giving availability that much of importance, like not that much high priority, a bit less, I'm saying, right? Correct. See, we all are using some, online modes of doing transactions, right? Correct. We have softwares for that. We have applications for that in order to do online transactions. In India, we have Google Pay, Phone Pay, and all that. Other countries they have their own, right? So have you ever seen that whenever you're trying to do an online transaction, at times it says server is not available, a server is down. Ever seen these kind of things? Server busy. In case if you go to the SBI bank, people are busy. So that's why I kept availability a bit less prior. See, even not taking that example of server busy or something. If I say like if I have to do a transaction, nearby ATMs are there. Let's suppose ATMs are not working or money is not there, but still I can hold up on that, right? I can wait, correct? Or I can lend some money from my friends or family, isn't it? Correct? And then when the service is back again, I can do the transaction, pay them back. Correct? That can be happen. We can do that, isn't it? But if I say, can you adjust or can you take that risk that your confidentiality and integrity is not there for 1 hour, 2 hour? Can you take that risk, or even half an hour, or even less than that? We cannot take that risk, right? Not at all. Exactly. Correct. So that's why I gave availability a less priority than your confidentiality and integrity. I hope that makes sense.